So I'm here with another interview, and I'm here to talk with someone I think is one of the future stars of the sport. He's got accolades in boxing, probably Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, junior MMA, amateur MMA, any more stuff probably as well.
Um, well, not that I can think of at the moment, but yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, because I was going for all your accolades, and it's like, holy shit, what has this guy not done? And you're only 19.
Yeah, yeah, just turned 19 not long ago, like a month ago or so.
So, what even like? How did you even get into martial arts in the first place?
I started off when I was like 7 years old. My dad always went to the gym, and me and my brother just tagged along, and eventually we just sort of jumped in, I guess, and it all just went from there.
Yeah, and haven't looked back yet. Obviously, your brother's coming off a really big win on Shuriken last weekend.
Yeah, he
Uh,
fought pretty well. He got it done second round. Yeah, no, I think he surprised a few people, so that's good, eh?
yeah, no, he looked really good. The commentators didn't seem to like him so much, but he looked really good in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know what the go there was. They seemed to. I don't know. I thought it was a pretty one-sided show, but I mean,
Me
of course,
too.
I'm biased view. But yeah,
Yeah, I think Brad Ramsey like trains at the Shuriken gym or something like that. So I think that's why they're a bit biased. Wait, hello, you there? I think you're frozen. Yeah, no, that's all good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Brad Ramsey like trains at Shuriken, like the actual gym itself. So that's probably got some reason why they're a bit biased.
yeah, yeah. And I definitely don't think it was a slip at the end. I definitely think he got rocked a bit. But yeah, you tend to slip once you get hit in the fucking dome a bit, eh?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't like the commentator like his first question being like, "Oh, you ready to rematch Brad Ramsey?" It's like he just fucking whooped him. Like, why would he
Yeah,
rematch him? Yeah,
yeah, nah. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think it'd be something Kyle would be down to do. I don't think he'd be scared at all, or sort of
yeah.
shy away from the opportunity. I mean, he's got to take any chance he can get at this stage, any fights he can get. So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. But enough about that. We're not just here to talk about the biased commentary or anything like that. But you've got a fight. You're making your pro debut against Jack Leaper. I think that's how you pronounce his last name, or Lipper.
yeah, yeah. I'm not really sure. Jack. I think it's Jack the Ripper Lipper or something. But yeah, that's all
Yeah,
I've. But yeah, nah. Seen him sort of on the socials before, but never really heard of him too much or seen him fight before. So I'm pretty keen to get in there and sort of see what he's made of.
yeah. I haven't watched too much of him myself personally, but I've heard some good things. So this should be a pretty good fight between you two.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen him. I've seen him on the jiu-jitsu scene before, like a few times here and there when I was younger. I mean, all I used to do was just smash out jiu-jitsu comps, and yeah, I've seen him on the scene there before. But same thing, I would have been like 13, and he was a fully grown adult, so not much I can really remember or say much about.
Yeah, I did want to bring up, and I'm not meaning to, bring up any maybe, bad things any I don't know how to put this. Just I did find your box rec record, and I think box rec's doing you a little dirty because it only has your fights from when you were like 10 years old on there. It doesn't have you winning Golden Glove last year.
Yeah, God, when I was doing boxing in Queensland when I was young, I think I got like I don't even know what the record would be. It's just a few more wins and losses, but it's a pretty 50-50 split. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, definitely some what I would say some close calls that sort of went the wrong way. But at the end of the day, yeah, I sort of fought some really like all the guys that I lost to were either the best guys, or I think I lost to like one guy like 4 times,
Yeah,
and he
that's what I was going to bring up. Yeah.
yeah, I lost to one guy like 4 times, and every time like he won. Like, it was a close fight, but he won every single time. And then there was a few other fights where like I went up a few age groups and weight divisions and that I lost. That there was one that I thought I got, but Yeah, no, I definitely lost a few, but at the same time, I definitely thought I should have got a few as well, eh?
Yeah, no, I just noticed that, so I was like, I got to bring this up because, yeah, some people might look at it and they'll say, oh, he's whatever the record is, but it's like you were literally 10. Like I did the math for you, like 10, 11 years old. So
Yeah.
people looking
Yeah, it was
to
a fair
shit on
while
you.
ago.
Yeah, exactly. You weren't even a teenager yet. You were preteen.
That's it. Yeah, I don't think the last boxing fight I had, I think I was like 11 or 12. Like I didn't do. By the time I was 12, I had my last fight September 2017, Muay Thai, and then I didn't fight again any stand up. I don't think until like 2020. I just couldn't find any matches or anything like that of the sort. And yeah, that's just sort of when I really focused on jiu-jitsu and sort of took over in the jiu-jitsu department until 2020 when I finally sort of was old enough to start finding some, older opponents and get into the adult division.
Yeah, definitely. I had watched some of your jiu-jitsu matches. I watched a bunch of your junior MMA fights as well. It's like it's crazy how good you are, man. Like just watching it, you've definitely got some real slick jiu-jitsu. You can tell, like, because what belt are you in jiu-jitsu?
Brown belt now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm a competitive brown belt, but sort of, like, I reckon I could stick it in the brown belt division, hang up there. I don't know if I'd fucking roll through the division or anything though, but yeah.
Yeah. Because when Relentless came out, when it came out with like all the photos and stuff like that, a thing that shot off for a lot of people was the 21-0 MMA record, but it was like unofficial record or something. It said like, what is that? Just junior fights, or is that just fights that
Yeah,
Tapology?
that was from like when I was like 8, like those fights between 8 and 12. I think I had 6 or 7 junior MMA fights, and they never went on the Tapology record. And then same when I went to Worlds for the junior IMAFs, and those fights never went on Tapology either. So between those two, as well as the Tapology record, I think it added up to like 21 fights or something. But yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm going to be sort of clickbaiting a little bit with the thumbnail. I have you as 26-0, and I just because technically you are, even though they're junior fights, but
Yeah.
Yeah. I posted a tweet of like a screenshot of it saying you're 26-0, and it got like a bunch of likes and stuff on it. Everyone was saying just give him Islam now, like all this stuff, which I thought was pretty cool.
I'll try to take his back and choke him out. Do what Volkanovski couldn't. No, I shouldn't say that. Volkanovski smashed him that first fight. That was definitely a rigged callers there, I reckon, as well. I did Volk dirty.
Yeah, I agree. Did you watch that fight live? Like, were you there?
Yeah, I watched it. I wasn't like I just had it up at home on the TV, and then I don't know. I was just thinking like, holy, like he's just done it, and then it was like the same reaction as what you see in like the Joe Rogan podcast when they watched it all live. Like everyone in the house was just like, how did he not get that? Like it was a bit of a mind-boggling experience, eh?
Well, I was there live, and me and my friends we were jumping up and down, and we're like, "Fucking!" We were like, "Yeah, he's fucking done it." And then they're like, "And still," it's like, "Oh," it's like the whole arena just moaned at the same, like groaned at the same time. Like, "Oh, are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah. No, I don't know. The thing that sort of like I didn't sit right with me is he went up a division that he's way too small for, and still, in my opinion, beat him. And then Islam saying how he's the best and he's unbeatable and that, and like if he's that good, why doesn't he go up to welterweight and try, fight the champion up there and become a double champ? So yeah, same with Khabib. Yeah. Khabib went up to welterweight and become a double champ, but they never really wanted to take the risk like Volk or some of the other guys do.
Yeah, exactly. Like you see a lot of people, like it's even Max Holloway said it after he knocked out Gates, like Islam's got a history of defending against like 145ers. So I guess I'm next or something. He said like, it's fucking true.
Yeah. He's just not like you can be a good people's champion unless you sort of do that sort of shit. Like Max Holloway, all them boys all come up, Volkanovski, even Conor McGregor went, that's what made him so popular when he became champ. And all that other sort of stuff.
And, is that something you want to sort of replicate when you do get to like the UFC? I would imagine UFC is your like goal, right? It's not like one or PFL.
Yeah.
It's like Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that I want to do. I don't know. I reckon I'll try to take the lightweight and welterweight belt. That's probably my goals. But yeah, no, definitely something that I'd be aiming for. Just got to focus on one belt at the moment first, so you try and get there, and then strive for it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would imagine this has pretty much been your goal since you were 8 years old when you started training.
Yeah, just about sort of when we first started training, like we never sort of had the idea to sort of go away and try to do really well at it. Like we were just doing it for the sake of, there was something fun to do and we were just doing it. And it wasn't for a long while where like we beat a few guys and people told us like, oh, like they're the, national champs or any of this. And we're like, oh, fuck, like maybe we should go to nationals or Pan Packs and that and actually give it a shot. And then it wasn't until like sort of after we went to nationals and competed for Jiu-Jitsu and that, or like the boxing golden gloves, and we did well, we were like, oh, we could probably, do all right with this. And then ever since then, yeah, it's sort of become the goal.
Yeah. And, I can see he's achieving it with the way he's fighting. I mean, your brother, he's literally already got his other fight booked. He had it booked while he was, already scheduled to fight Ramsey. Are you looking to do the sort of the same thing, have a bunch of fights scheduled up?
Yeah, definitely just sort of take whatever I can get, really. Just especially while I'm here at CKB for like a 1-year scholarship, I try and get as many fights in as I can and make the most of it. So yeah, just try and pack them all into this year.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that whole scholarship and everything because obviously Relentless, we can't watch it over in Australia for some reason.
Yeah.
It's geo blocked.
But it was a pretty good experience. Yeah, no, definitely when the show came out, it definitely wasn't what I was expecting it to be, but it was still a pretty mean watch and worth giving it a watch. Pretty sure you can watch it if you change your VPN or something over in Australia. I don't really know how it works because I'm in New Zealand at the moment, so I just watched it normally. But yeah, no, it was a good experience. Like made some real good friends. I'm trying to get Kasib to come back over to New Zealand now. Fucking come train with us. But I think he's loving it at Joe's at the moment. Joe Lopez is at Freestyle MMA.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely, when I signed up, when they seen the applications for the, trial sort of thing, I thought, oh, there's no harm in just put an application. And I never thought, I'd actually make it onto the show, let alone the shortlist sort of thing. Then we got confirmation like, oh, you've been made to the shortlist. Send through, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, fuck, like we made it to the shortlist. And then we found out that we made it to the show.
Wait, I think you're frozen.
And then, it wasn't until like a few weeks in, I was like, fuck, like I could actually win this thing. Like I never went over there with the goal of winning. I went over the goal of just, trying to learn as much as I could and trying to take home what I can. And then, by the end of it, I was like, well, I won the scholarship and I was fucking over the moon.
Yeah. What was even the challenges like? Because obviously you won it, obviously you guys weren't fighting each other, all different weight classes and stuff like that. So what was actually how did they define that you were like the winner? Like what went into that?
I think what went into like the winner was they sort of had like what they taught us over the 8 weeks was expected of us. Like we were expected to implement it in the fight that we had at the end of the show. So like every week we'd learn like a new concept sort of thing or a new thing and build on it every week and week and week. And then at the end of their series, when we fought, Eugene gave us like a big list and he says like, I want to see this, this and this and this, carried out in the fight. And, this is what you'd be judged on and how pick wins. And, on top of how well you fought and how well you did all of those things, I think it come down to, as well, how much you wanted it, how much potential you had, and, just how hard you were willing to push yourself and, like wanting to win, like how hard you were at training and that.
Yeah. And I know you guys had like in-house fights as well, because I did talk to Kasib like last week, I think it was, and he said like I think you fought Ollie Schmid, right?
Yeah, I fought Ollie Schmidt. Yeah, I think Kasib fought Kieran Joblin. He had a pretty pretty tough job there. He did pretty well, eh? And
Yeah.
then yeah, and everyone else had some pretty tough fights as well, but I actually think Kasich had the hardest one on his hands.
Yeah. How did because it was like you weren't actually like trying to knock each other out or sub each other though, was it? Was it more like a glorified sparring match?
Well, yeah, it's like an ego match. Like you weren't trying to knock each other out, but there's no way.
Yeah.
You know, they still had people there watching and that, and you know, trying to, and at the same time, you're fighting for a spot on the team. So you know, no one was willing to lose, but it was just more of like a safe sparring or a safe fight, I guess. Like if you sort of rocked them, just you know, let them get their head back, and then yeah, trying to smash each other really, as if you wouldn't sparring, like a safe manner though.
Yeah, I mean Ollie Schmid's like he's a pretty good fighter as well. You know, he's gone the longest against Harry Webb, like longer than Abdullah Bayeda and all the other guys he's fought. So that's like that's pretty good opponent to get.
Yeah, he's pretty wicked, eh? Like I remember Kyle was meant to fight him back in 2020 or 2021 on Sure He Can Fight series over here, and that's sort of when we when I got wind of him and who he was and that. And yeah, ever since then he's just been smoking blokes. Like he went pro, he had his pro debut against Harry Webb, and I'm pretty sure he went like the full distance. And you know, Harry Webb's just been finishing guys left, right, and center. But you know, now he's a lightweight champion, I think, on Hex.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's definitely no rollover.
Yeah, definitely. And like, obviously because you're not trying to finish each other. I did hear you won your match against Ollie Schmid, right?
Yeah, I was lucky enough that he sort of just come in off an injury and you know, not much of a camp, so I was pretty lucky there, I reckon. And plus, especially he's like a natural lightweight. Like he almost looks like he could make bantamweight. So yeah, no, I reckon if he had a full fight camp and all that sort of stuff, fighting properly, I think it'd be I think it'd be a really good fight. Of course, not teammates though on that, but you know, I'd love to see us have a hard scrap. Like now when we, spar at the gym and it's really good rounds and that. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, you said that, he's more of a natural lightweight. So do you consider yourself like a bigger lightweight?
Oh, sorry, he's more of like a natural featherweight. Yeah, he's definitely not a lightweight. No way. And, I don't know. For me, I'd say I don't know. I'm definitely nowhere close to a welterweight. No way in hell. But at the same time, I'm definitely not making featherweight anytime soon. So I'd say I'm a pretty good lightweight. Pretty comfortable where I'm at. Yeah, no need to go
Yeah, I
up
think
again.
you did fight at featherweight before though, right? As like an amateur.
Yeah. When I was amateur, when I come back from that like big break I was talking about, I started off at featherweight just because I don't know, I was just small. Like I just walked around at like 68, 69 kilos most of the time, and then that's just what I fought at. And then I slowly got bigger. I got up to like 72 kilos, and then just started fighting that lightweight. And then ever since I started fighting that lightweight, I just started making bigger and bigger cuts, and I've just stuck around that lightweight now. Especially since like back then I don't have a clue on how to cut weight, so I just jumped in the sauna, the day I weighed and just sweated out 2 kilos and jumped on the scales.
Yeah, and I'd imagine like your junior bouts would have been at like what 30 kilos, 40 kilos, like something super light like that.
Yeah, I think the heaviest I got when I was young fighting was like 42 kilos. Like that was the heaviest one.
Yeah,
Even that one I was like same thing. I didn't even cut any weight. That's just what I walked around at.
that's crazy.
But yeah. No, I didn't. I was like under 50 kilos until I was like, God, 15. I think I was like 50 something kilos, 54, 55. And then I just shot straight up to like 68 kilos in like half a year. Just fucking got fat, I guess. I just got but yeah.
Yeah, no, you can tell like obviously you're 19, so I'd imagine your future obviously, will probably be like at least a big lightweight. I feel like you're just going to keep growing and growing bigger as you go along, obviously. But yeah, you can tell like you're not like a small lightweight though, like at least like build wise.
Yeah, I don't know. Like sometimes I think like fuck, like like I'm pretty big for the division, but then at the same time, I look at other guys in my division. I'm like, they're even bigger than me. I'm like, holy shit. Especially then, like I look at Kevin Jusay and I see he makes welterweight, and I'm just like, there's no way I could ever go to welterweight versus like a fucking behemoth like him. Like he'd be huge for the division. And but yeah, like I think especially when I walk around like City Kickboxing now, like next to Kieran Joblin and Dan Hooker, I feel like I'd be a pretty reasonable size, like not way bigger than those guys, but at the same time not really smaller. Like I remember the first time I walked into the gym and I seen Dan, I just thought to myself, how does he make, like how did he used to make featherweight sort of thing? But yeah, no, I think like lightweight's definitely the right division for me. I think I will become a bigger lightweight, or eventually, in the later years, have to go up to welterweight eventually. But hopefully that's not anytime soon.
Yeah, there's a lot of good lightweights though coming up. Obviously, I'd imagine by the time you probably get to like the Eternal Hex belt, whatever the promotion you end up fighting for, I'd imagine like the guys like Quillen Southkill, Harry Webb. I feel like they're all probably gonna be off to the UFC by the time you get there. But like, is there any like fights you'd really be excited for? Outside of your current fight.
I'm not sure. Like way down the track. No, not really that I know of at the moment. Like I wanted to fight Harry Webb back while I was an amateur before he went pro. I thought that would have been like a really good time to fight him, because I knew he was on the on the verge of like going pro, and even when he did go pro, like he would have been a like a very competitive high level pro as well at that. And and I knew like it probably wasn't like the easiest fight to win, like by far. Like it was probably the hardest fight that like would have turned most people off. But the thing was, at lightweight, at amateur, I just wanted to have some of those really, really tough fights where I knew I couldn't win. And because when you go pro, it resets. Like nothing you do at amateur really matters. So I remember on one of my fights, like I was just saying, like I just want someone who can beat me, and I just want to really, show what I'm made of, and do something really, really, that's pretty much impossible, or at least give it a shot. But no, at the moment, I don't know. I guess not. I'll just sort of take whatever comes my way, and do what I can. I mean, the division's always changing. Like by the time I get to the top of the division, Don Marfam or Clarence Kid, Max Cully, sorry, not Max Cully, Harry Webb will probably also be there. But or they could all be in the UFC. Like there's no real way to tell, I don't think. But yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. You're not wrong. It changes quickly. Like, I mean, look at the Eternal like featherweight championship like 2 years ago. It was like Jack Jenkins. Now he's gone.
Yeah, nah. Even like that, Steve Erceg, like he was just smashing guys, and all of a sudden he's fighting for the, UFC flyweight world championship. So
yeah, which is crazy. I still can't believe he's got to the belt so quickly.
Yeah, no, that's wicked. Straight up first call is against like a ranked fighter, and he just absolutely smashes him. But yeah, it's a pretty big deal for him. So congrats to him, and he's doing good, eh?
Yeah, no, it's awesome to see. Obviously, I'm from Perth as well, so like I'm always happy to see the Perth guys do well. I'm always happy to see all the Aussie guys do well, but especially the Perth guys.
Yeah, and I think Quaylen will be the next one to go. I seen he was meant to fight on the Contender Series a while ago, but then I'm not sure what happened, if his opponent pulled out or an injury or what happened. But I think he'll be the next one to go out of the lot. Obviously, went last. He's in there now. But definitely think Quaylen will be the next one in.
Yeah, he was meant to fight Road to UFC, which is like that Asia like tournament thing. He was going to fight a non-tournament bout, and then the guy he was fighting missed weight. No, a guy in the main event missed weight in a different fight. He missed weight, so then the guy Krillin was fighting got pulled out to go fight that guy instead. So he got completely fucked over. Like it was fucking horrible.
Yeah, because I seen he was in the country and everything. Poor lad. Hey.
Yeah, would have been
But
devastating.
like if he's still around by the time I make it to the top of the group, I'd like to fight like Quay, and I reckon that'd be a good fight. Once I make it up to the top there, that'd be someone I'd like to verse.
Yeah, definitely. And looking at your fights, you've actually fought some pretty good amateurs. Like looking at the guys you fought, Jake Piper. He's pretty hyped up. The Aston guy you beat last fight as well. He's really good. He's gotten 2 wins since that fight. Like you've beaten really good amateurs. Like you're not fighting any schmucks. I really do like the level of competition.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, no, the hardest thing, like the thing that sort of set me was like to go pro was, I fought these guys and then, I seen the other guys, like there was sort of other people in the division where I was like, oh, I'll fight them next. And then, like they ended up getting the fights with the people I beat instead. And then, the guys I was beating was then beating them. And I was like, oh, I may as well just go pro and just start making some money, really. Start trying to.
Yeah.
Because I definitely think I'm going to get better going pro sooner as well, rather than hanging around the amateurs. And, not doing nothing, but I definitely think it's a quicker path to success going pro than just sitting around in amateurs waiting too long.
Yeah, no, I think it's better to get used to like those 3 5-minute rounds. I know a lot of your fights were 4-minute rounds, but like, even an extra minute, it's good to prepare for that. The elbows, there's still a whole bunch of new rules you got to get used to.
Yeah, definitely. Especially being over like I said, like being over here at CKB for the year, like just trying to make the most of it, do as much as I can before the year's up.
Yeah, and once your like scholarship's up, are you going back to? I think you train at Ignite, right?
Yeah, so I used to do like a lot of fight camps and head down to Ignite a lot for a lot of my fights. But majority of the time, like I'd just be at home in like a little tiny, country town in Innisfail up near Cairns. And a lot of the time that's where, I was based out of doing my training. And then, I'd go down to Ignite for like 2 weeks during each fight camp and do 2 weeks there for my fight. And but I think at the end of the year, I'm going to try and stay over here for as long as I can. Like I'll try and extend it sort of as long as I can survive. But, once the money, not much you can do, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Because you're Australian born and raised, I'm pretty sure, and your parents are Australian, right?
Yeah. No, I'm not really liking the Kiwis over here. Eh? It's good over here, but
Yeah, do you get anything for your accent over there?
yeah, a little bit. Eh? I reckon the other ones are too funny. Yeah, but I'll say stuff like six and pool and fish and chips, and they're like, "You so funny, bro." But then I hear it sounds like a fucking just out of this world. Eh?
Yeah, no, definitely. How is it training with like all those guys at CKB? Like, who are you getting the best rounds in? I've seen you're training with Dan Hooker, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. You sort of just end up going with everyone. Like the only two people in the gym that I haven't gone with yet is Kai Kara France and Israel Adesanya. Like those are the only two. I've done some wrestling and that with Izzy, but I haven't done any stand up with him. And I just haven't gone with Kai yet at all. But yeah, you sort of just train with everyone, and everyone there is so high level. So you're just in the gym 6 days a week, just getting absolutely pummeled by the best. And yeah, no, there's nothing quite like it. Eh? Like you're just going like I get Dan's rounds in with Dan, pretty much every single time we're sparring or we're doing some sort of wrestling thing. So being smashed by one of the top lightweights in the world, definitely. I don't know. It's almost like a confident boost. You're like, oh, like I can survive against this lad, which I probably wouldn't be able to if you wanted to turn it on. But like if I can do something good against Tim, I should be sweet against someone, at my level. Like
Yeah.
someone I'll be fighting down, as my pro debut.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, Dan Hooker's the guy who almost knocked out Dustin Poirier, and I mean, look how good of a like striker he is, and you know how good he's still doing. He's fighting for the belt next.
Yeah, yeah, especially on a 2 week fight notice as well, like late notice. Coming in on 2 weeks to fight Dustin Poirier, that's a mission and a half, and to almost do him like he did, I reckon it's pretty spectacular, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you know, a lot of people they'll watch your amateur fights, but like you haven't actually got to showcase much of your striking. What the things I have noticed out of your striking though is you've really got good kicks. I've noticed the kicks are really good, but you know, you don't really see much of it because you're just ragdolling everybody.
Yeah, I don't know, a lot of the times, like fighting since I was out of like a small country town and working. The last time I had a fight camp for Dom Ass and I was sick, like the whole, I'd have like 3 days of just couldn't move out of bed, and then 2 days where I could move. And since there was like 4 weeks left to train, like, oh, I just got to get into the gym and just do as much as I can. And then since done like 1 or 2 days of like hard training, then I just sent me back into a coma, and I'd be back in bed for like 3 or 4 days. And yeah, going into that fight, like if I don't know if the corners sort of minute on the fight on YouTube, but if they are, you can see me like not vomit, but like hurl up this huge flame ball into thing. I was so sick. And, I was really nervous to, try and stand up and bang. I thought I'd just be, just gassed, especially, his style of stand up is just go, go, go. So, I was going to I just shit myself and just like, I'm just going to take him down and just try and ragdoll him and rest wherever I can. And I'm lucky I did, because, it's definitely the only reason why I won the fight. Like, even I had his back down, I was just dead. I was gasping for air, couldn't breathe. And, as well as, being sick, I also hadn't been able to do any like conditioning or proper training for that camp. So I was out of shape anyway. But the few fights before that, like when I fought um, Harry Kostafis, I think his name was, that
Yeah.
was a fight I was prepared to sort of stand and bang. And then he sort of tried to initiate a few wrestling exchanges. And from there, I was just like, if you're going to wrestle, I'll show you how to wrestle. Um, the few fights before that as well. I think it was Darcy House. He was like because I'd seen him fight before. He had like heaps of knockouts, and that was only my third fight back in MMA, and I was still so nervous about my stand up. Wasn't sure, because coming back from the 5 years I had off, or 4 years I had off, the biggest problem I had was can I still bang? Like, can I still fight? And so that was one where I sort of just, especially against someone who has that knockout power, I was like, I'll just take him down. And that way it's nothing to worry about. I had a fight here in New Zealand on Shuriken 2020. And that one was like the clear path to victory was just to take him down and choke him out, as I did. And then when I fought Jake Piper, it's just sort of just how it happened, I guess. Like, he just presented the opportunity and I took it, I guess. Yeah, but this next fight, should be good. I should be able to showcase, especially since I've been here at CKB. Showcase what I've learned here and all of that. It's a shame they didn't put up more of the fights from Relentless, because that was probably, one of the best sort of showcases of my stand-up, where I sort of stood up for majority of the fight. But yeah, it's definitely not
Yeah.
something I'm scared to do anymore, at least. But yeah.
Yeah, nah, because I was noticing it, the little like striking exchanges you could see, like you were looking good, like you were looking really good with the kicks. You landed some good shots, and then I think it was I forget which fight it was, but you're mixing up the striking into the takedowns really smoothly as well. So, you know, good
Yeah.
setups.
Yeah, no, but yeah, definitely. I think I've definitely got a different stand-up game than most people in MMA. Like, most people in MMA just want to stand and box. But having so many Muay Thai fights as a kid, I definitely think that that sort of impacted my stand-up style. Like, I definitely like my kicks and sort of throwing the legs, sort of whichever way I can. But yeah, no, I'm still trying to refine it and make it as good as I can. So yeah.
Well, you know, you're going to throw some people off at least when you do eventually strike with them. I mean, you've barely taken any punches and stuff like that. So, I mean, long term, that's pretty good for you. That's good for the chin.
Yeah. Hopefully I don't end up with CTE when my career's over. I like to be able to, walk around and still talk without dropping half my lip.
Yeah, when I posted the screenshot, you know, with the Relentless photo with like, you know, 21 unofficial and then 5 pro amateurs and then the Muay Thai, somebody said, yeah, Brodie, he can be 26-0 all he wants, but he'll have CT by the time he's 23 or something like that. But, you know, they're junior bouts and you're not getting hit at all. So,
Yeah, nah. I definitely think, if anything, I think it's the training that does it more than anything. Like in the fights, if you get hit, you're out. Like it's one hit and you're done. Whereas in training, you're just copping it and copping it and copping it. So yeah, if anything, I definitely think it's the training that contributes the most to CTE and that. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. Like if you see a guy get hit properly in MMA with those little 4-ounce gloves, they drop pretty much every single time.
yeah.
Unless that's, Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje, unless it's one of those kind of blokes, they go down like a sack of potatoes every time.
Yeah, exactly. Do you like, how do you rate your power? Because obviously, you know, there's not much to see of it, but do you like rate your power? Like, do you think you have pretty heavy hands?
Um, I don't know. I think I've got like good enough power. In all honesty, I've only ever fucking like dropped people with head kicks. That's my main. Like I've sat a few people and knocked a few people out with the head kicks and training and that. But yeah, I've never. I don't know. I've just never really had the chance to try and put someone out with their hands. It's just always come by way of head kick so far. But no, I definitely think it's something that I do have that a lot of people don't realize. But yeah,
It's always good to, like, you know, have some wrinkles to the game nobody's seen yet.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I wouldn't say I lack power. I'd definitely say I can put a few bruises on someone.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I was going to ask, because I said it in the intro, like boxing. Did you do any wrestling, like any wrestling tournaments or anything like that?
No, I've never. The first time I ever did a proper wrestling class or like a proper wrestling match was here for Relentless. I rocked up on Wednesday doing wrestling and I'm like sick. And someone tried to take me down and I took their back. I think it was actually Kasib tried to take me down and I took his back. And I rolled over to put my hooks in and Eugene looks at me and goes, "You just fucking lost, mate. Like your shoulders are on the mat. You've just lost in wrestling." And yeah, like all the wrestling I ever did was just either through MMA rounds or starting with jiu-jitsu, just standing. And but yeah, I've never done any pure wrestling or anything of the sort.
Okay, yeah, because in your fights, I mean, you would think you had, because you know you're going in there slamming people. I mean, you said you're from a small country town. I guess that's that country boy strength, because yeah, you're just picking people up and fucking slamming them.
Yeah, no, that was always like whenever we're training and that's definitely my favorite place to be is on the cage with someone, especially with Kyle. Saves, like if you've seen his last fight, it saves you just getting smacked by that left hook.
Yeah, yeah. Do you and Kyle, like, is your like plan to be sort of like the Nogueira brothers of like from Australia? Like, you know, just go in there. I mean, I think he's a lightweight, but he can make featherweight, right? Looking at him, because you look a bit bigger than him, I think.
Yeah, Kyle's a featherweight. His last fight against Brad Ramsey was a featherweight. Yeah, I definitely think he's too small to be a lightweight. But yeah, no, definitely both planning to go to the UFC and sort of try and do as much as we can to take over. But yeah, no, that's the end goal.
Yeah. Did your like dad compete as well? Because I looked him up. I think his name's Daryl, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
he had an MMA fight way back in the day, and just where we were, like I said, like being from the middle of nowhere, it was just so hard for him to get fights in that, and he had one. And then he had like a few others sort of lined up that just never came through, like through pullouts and like the events getting cancelled and that. And then he always competed in jiu-jitsu. Like he went down and he's won some pretty good like jiu-jitsu tournaments and that at black belt. But yeah, no, he only ever had the one MMA fight back in the day. Way before that was like when me and Kyle first started, probably about 10 years ago now.
Fuck.
So, yeah, I
Yeah,
think
because I was wondering, like, yeah, I thought that your dad would have at least competed if he's going to let his sons compete. I would imagine he'd at least have tested out the waters and everything first.
yeah, he gave it a shot.
Yeah,
he was going to get back in there and have a few more, but yeah, like I said, just couldn't.
yeah, it would have
between
been.
you
Yeah,
go.
sorry. What were you saying? No, yeah, I was going to say it would have been cool because I don't know if you ever seen, but Bellator did like a card where they had AJ McKee and they had his dad fight on the same cards. It would have been cool if they could have done you, Kyle, and then him on the same card, like all three of yous fighting. That would have been pretty sick.
Yeah, they one of the like first promotions that we fought on when we came back. We were trying to egg on one of Dad's mates who's been training, just as long as him, never had a fight, and Dad was trying to egg him on to have a fight and get back, like get in the ring and that for the first time. And the deal was if he jumped in, Dad would have to jump back in. And it was about to go ahead, but just never really ended up quite coming to the end of it. But they were both in training, both about to get ready and give it a crack. And between me and Kyle, him trying on us become a bit much as well as work. And
Yeah.
but yeah,
Is it just like you and Kyle? Do you have like another brother as well, or? Oh, wait, I think you're frozen.
sister, but yeah, just
Yeah, wait, sorry, you cut out a bit there. What did you say? Sorry.
we got an older sister and a younger sister, but in terms of like MMA and that and like training, it's just me and Kyle competing at the moment. Pretty much everyone in the family train.
Oh, yeah.
To me,
Oh. Yeah, sorry. You were saying you have a sister, and I think you said you have another younger sibling.
Yeah. So we got an older sister that's just older than Kyle, and another sister that's like 10 years younger than me. And yeah, between a lot of us, everyone pretty much trains. I guess mum and dad both do jiu-jitsu. Dad's a black belt, mum's a purple belt. Kyle both do jiu-jitsu and MMA, of course. And then my older sister, after she stopped doing jiu-jitsu, she kept going on with Muay Thai. Never fought, but always stuck around in the gym and that. And then my little sister just sort of comes and goes as she pleases. She's still pretty young at the moment, so she's got plenty of time to get in there.
Yeah. We could see three of yous fighting for belts or something.
Yeah, that's it. Convince her one day.
Yeah, exactly. And does your mum train as well?
Yeah. So she's always just done jiu-jitsu. Like she started just before COVID, I think it was, and she's done a fair few jiu-jitsu comps and that, but never thought to try any stand-up yet. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a family you want to fuck with. I mean, that. Did you? Oh, sorry. Every time you go to talk, then I go to talk. Sorry about that.
nah, it's all good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you ever like? Obviously, I'd imagine nobody probably ever tried to fuck with you when you were in school, but like, has anyone ever tried to like just have a street fight with you or anything like that?
Not seriously. The closest I ever got to a fight was, oh god, in like grade 7. When I tried to like break up a fight and someone started trying to go me. But no, the biggest thing that ever happens is like just me and the mates just like mucking around, and they want to try and test you, but they start trying to tuck you and beat on you, and then I think like it happened a few times, and one time I just got like not sick of it, but I was like, nah, like fuck these cunts. If they want to scrap, I'll show them. And it was my best mate Staggy, and I was, he tried to take me down. So first I guillotined him until he tapped out, and then I knee rode him until he tapped out. Then I armbarred him until he tapped out, and then I just mounted him and just slapped him, just top righted him until he tapped out. And yeah, and that was
And
the
he never
last.
tried it again.
That was it.
I mean, yeah, that's one way to teach him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now with the slapping on top, I mean, have you ever thought about having like a combat jiu-jitsu match?
Yeah, I have actually. The Fusion Fighting Championships back in Australia. I'm pretty sure they had some going on, and I don't know what happened. I can't remember. I was trying to get onto the show. I can't remember if I ended up getting a MMA fight or before I got matched up on there or what happened. But yeah, no, it's definitely something that I was looking forward to. Definitely something that I'd love to try. Have a combat jiu-jitsu match. Jiu-jitsu guys are all good until they start getting punched in the face. Then their
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu goes down the drain for a lot of them, unless you're
Yeah, I
Charles
feel like
Oliveira.
it's probably like it's really good. I feel like for jiu-jitsu guys that are in MMA to give like combat jiu-jitsu a shot because it helps you learn like what you do when you're on your back and someone's trying to punch you as well as you're trying to get triangles and arm bars from your back and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a completely different game. Like it's I'd say it's even like more severe than going from gear to no gear. It's like there's so much stuff you can do in gear that you can't do to no gear, and it like takes away half your game. And then to go from no gear to combat jiu-jitsu, like as soon as you bring your head somewhat close to them, they're just going to start open palm bitch slapping you as hard as they can. If you start trying to get underneath their hips and expose a heel to heel hook them, and you start copping one to the nose, everyone thinks that it's just like a bitch slap as well, but when you get the base of the palm full force, just straight up on your nose like that, it doesn't take much to just absolutely shatter it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at Bass Rudin back in the day. He was knocking people the fuck out with palm strikes.
Yeah, like I think people think that it's just a slap, but it's not. It's like it's pretty much a full blown punch.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's actually the palm is like generally fucking really hard. Like people just because it's like people don't do it, I feel like they don't realize how hard it is.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference between open palm and like a closed fist is when you punch someone in the forehead with the closed fist or around the eye, like they bruise and they swell up. With an open palm, you don't get any of that. But it's still the same force going through your head. So like the knockouts come just as easy, and that like you get one hard sort of slap to the temple, and you're like, holy shit, like where am I? It just doesn't mark up as much as it would, with the closed fist.
Yeah, definitely. Have you done a lot of palm strikes to people before?
Me and Kyle have had a few combat jiu-jitsu rounds back at home, given it a shot before, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd imagine. I think I seen somewhere. I heard in one of your fights, or maybe one of Carl's fights, like the commentators saying that you guys only really like to train together when you two both have fights together. Because if you don't have a fight scheduled, you two just try and kill each other or something like that. I think it was something along those lines.
Yeah, no, like when we no, it's been a bit hard later. Like it's definitely a lot easier training when we both got fights coming up, and we sort of, not that we have to look after each other. Like we're still going just as hard, but we always have to be careful of not injuring each other before our fights and that. And but yeah, definitely a few times, when there's no fights coming up, when you can just try to go, batshit crazy on each other. Where there's been a few, exciting rounds between us, I think you can say. But we still try and smash each other whenever we're in camp, and that it's just not to the detriment of each other's limbs, I guess you could say. If that kick's there and his knee's in a funny spot in a camp, you sort of kick it light. If his leg's in a funny spot and it's out of camp and you just want to kick it, you just throw it as hard as you can. He'll heal up before the next fight.
That sounds fucking terrifying. But yeah, I can only imagine, like, because he's obviously, I'd imagine he seems more like primarily a striker. Obviously, he's got the jiu-jitsu and grappling just as you do, but he seems to rely a bit more on his striking. And you're more a bit, in your fight so far, you've showcased more of your grappling. So I imagine it's both good for you because you can work on the striking with him, and then he can work on his grappling and stuff like that with you.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, like when I had my layoff, like my 5 years where I couldn't find a fight, Kyle was pretty lucky to sort of be on the edge of that age gap where he could, fight those older guys. When I was like 12, I'm not going to get a fight against like a 16, 17-year-old or an adult. Whereas Kyle was sort of like, 15, fighting those 17, 18-year-olds, and he was able to keep fighting. And, he just, when I was sort of losing the confidence in my striking, he was just gaining it. And then, yeah, he's just sort of he's always loved to just stand and bang around. So he's always loved that left hook he's got.
Yeah, he's fucking fun to watch, man. I was enjoying that fight last weekend quite a lot. That was one of the best fights on that card.
Yeah, it was pretty good, eh? He like leading up to it, I was like, fuck, like I wonder how he's gonna go, sort of thing. Like he's had a good camp and that, but like still nervous as you always are. And then we went to the back and I started warming up with him, and as soon as he did like the first, 5 minutes of one, I was like, fuck, he's gonna rail this guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And now he's,
Yeah.
he's. Sorry, yeah, you go on. Sorry.
A lot of the guys at the gym, because he doesn't, of course he doesn't train like that either. Like he, not that he takes it light in training, but obviously when you spar, you're not, sparring like you would when you fight. And yeah, he's one of those guys that when he fights, he can just turn it up, like he just puts it on. Whereas, there's, of course, everyone knows there's some guys that train really well and then they fight like shit, and then other guys train like shit and then fight really well. And he was one of those guys where trains pretty good, but then fights way better. Like just sort of turns it up another level. And everyone at the gym's coming. I was like, I didn't know your brother could fight like that. I didn't know he was that good. I didn't know, his hands. He had that power in his hands, or all that sort of stuff. But yeah,
just a dangerous man.
Yeah, and then you think take him down, and then he just guillotines you, and he'll just start smashing with his jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, no, it's exciting times ahead for the Australian / New Zealand MMA. With you guys coming up.
Yeah, it should be good.
You're on a pretty. Oh yeah, sorry, go on.
There's a few like top guys coming out, like like there's Case of Murdoch coming up. He's like there's definitely a lot of prospects coming up at the moment. Whereas, like, in the past years, it's sort of been, like a one here and a one there, and, like just every now and again. But, I think lately we've been getting like a steady sort of line of people coming through looking to do good and, sort of prosper.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've seen somewhere that there's like 200 amateur lightweights in Australia / New Zealand. Like that's fucking insane. Like that's a lot of like bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, even over like in New Zealand, like since I was in Australia, I never really seen it. And then, I didn't even think there was an MMA scene in New Zealand. And, like, I knew that there must have been something, but I thought I'd just be like, shit. And then I come over here and it's huge, man. Like it's every like second, third weekend, there's a fight night here, like more than, I wouldn't say more than Australia, because Australia is so spread out. Like there's Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, whereas here they're just everything's in Auckland. But yeah, like there's some like wicked sort of guys coming out of New Zealand, and especially the kickboxing scene is huge here. Like you see these guys smashing it on the kickboxing, and then they come over to MMA and they just start smashing guys with their hands and that. It's just insane, yeah. Like just sort of shell shocked me a bit. I didn't realize that was that much here.
Is that something you would want to do, like King of the Ring? Because obviously, so many guys from CKB have gone on to win that, and then they're off to the UFC after that. Is that something you want to do, or are you just focusing primarily on MMA?
Like if I could never, like I'd like to focus on MMA. Like if I've got an MMA fight, I'd always take that over King of the Ring. But you know, I think it'd definitely be something that I'll do in the future. Like especially if I can't, you know, if it gets to the stage where it's a slow year, like I fight in the start of the year and don't really have much on for the rest of the year, can't get anything lined up. You know, I'd be happy to jump in there. Like you know, I've always sort of jumped in like the boxing, and it's good too because it sort of makes me, you know, like sort of like it makes me, you know, work on my stand up. It makes me have to, you know, rely on my stand up. So yeah, I think it's definitely something that I'd like to do and something that I'll give a crack in the future. I don't know how close in the future, but definitely something I'll be doing sometime soon, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing like the improvements you have because I'd imagine being at CKB, we're going to see a lot more fainting out of you. You know, they've got elite fainting over there.
Oh yeah, that's all. That every single session, that make sure you're fainting, make sure you're fainting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost the weirdest thing about fainting is like once you start doing it properly, it like gasses you more than it does like going a combo. Like you sort of fainting, and it's a way different. Like you sort of think it's just like a movement, but it's not. Like it's a whole different kind of conditioning now. Like your arm gets sore after like a minute and a half as opposed to being able to go through the round, you know, feeling fresh as a daisy.
Yeah, definitely. And you look at it like Israel, he's a good example of it. Like in the Rob Wilkinson fight, he was like fainting his like hip and then going up top. Like he was doing some fucking crazy feints in that fight.
Yeah, Izzy's got some because you sort of see him in the fights and then you're like, holy, like those are feints, and then you watch him do it, and it's like, especially since I've been learning it now and trying to sort of implement it, like it's way harder than it looks. And then you see him doing it, it's like he's just doing it like it's absolutely nothing, man. Like it's a piece of piss for him, and I'm sitting there
Yeah.
doing like a fucking retard, man. Like trying to trying to put that jab out there. I'm like, some country's going to look at me and think he has no idea how to fight. Especially then when you look over 20 meters to my right, there's Izzy just doing it like it's nothing, just smashing it out.
Yeah, definitely. But hey, if people are making fun of you, just shoot the fucking double on them.
Shoot the double leg, high crutch single, slam, take the back, choke them out.
Exactly. I seen when your fight got announced. I seen a bunch of comments saying that you and Jack Lipa should do like a loser loses the mullet.
Yeah, I was pretty I was actually like gonna try and make something of it, like the loser has to shave the mullet. But I actually don't think he has the mullet anymore, so I don't think it'll be able to work out, eh? But yeah, when it first came through, my Kyle was actually the one that put it up. The loser has to shave the mullet. I was like, fuck, like we should actually, make a bet and make it happen. But then upon further research, I found out that I don't think he has it anymore. I think he shaved it off, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, that's upsetting. They could have done like a live in cage like mullet chopping off. That would have been pretty fucking good.
Ponytail, chop it off at the base.
Yeah, that would have been fucking. That would have gone viral. That would have been fucking awesome.
Winner gets to do the honors.
Yeah, but that beatdown card you're on is pretty fucking sick. I mean, obviously it's got you on there, Kyle versus that Daniel. Is his name Daniel Santos? I think it is.
Yeah,
Brazilian.
yeah, some guy
Oh,
training out.
Brenda. No, yeah, it's no. Sorry, I'm thinking of the guy in the UFC. Yes, I think it's
Yeah,
like
and
Brenda.
Kieran Joblin's fighting, Adam Cook's fighting,
They
and
just
even like
announced. Sorry. Yeah, I was going to say they just announced Joseph Luciano's fighting on it as well.
yeah, it's a wicked card. I still haven't actually seen the fight order though, so I'll be keen to see how they how they like what order they put it in.
Yeah, I would imagine that space you and Kyle out, right? Because I would imagine you guys have like the same corner.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope we're not right next to each other. But yeah, there's a fair few of us. Yeah, there's me, Kyle, Kieran, and Adam. So hopefully we've got sort of a pretty good space between us all. Less the corners, because I mean the fighters aren't really the ones that struggle with it. I think it's definitely more the cornermen trying to get back and forth, warm the next guy up, and then they can't warm someone up while they're in the corner.
Yeah,
Doing
exactly.
this fight.
Yeah, I remember they did that for the UFC where they had Justin Gaethje. They had him open up the card, because it was like Rose, Usman all on the card. So it's like Trevor Whitman, it doesn't want to like do back to back to back. So they had to like space out when they're all fighting.
Yeah, man, I can't imagine that. Like when Eugene had like 6 or 7 guys on the Sydney card, and I was like, that's got to be fucking insane, man. Especially at that high of a level as well.
Yeah.
You know, going any worse.
Yeah, it was like Izzy, Olberg, fuck, who else was there? There was Blood Diamond,
Everyone on that.
Doucette. Yeah. There's going to be more as well. Kai was going to be on that card. It was going to be about fucking 8 of them.
Yeah. I'm keen
Like,
to fight in August. I'm definitely going to try to get some tickets over that one.
yeah, no, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be Izzy Dricker's like main event, probably. Della
Yeah.
versus Shafkat should be a real good one.
Yeah, no, it should be a wicked card. Best thing now is too, like the cards over here are like filled up with all the Aussies now as well. Like back in the day when it used to come here, there might have been like one Aussie on there, and then all the rest was just everyone else. But now, you know, when you go into a show in Perth or Sydney or something, you know, every single fight's an Aussie.
Yeah, it's so much better. Like I remember back in the day, even like when it was like Rob versus Izzy, like the cards were like pretty like horrible. But now it's like we got so much good talent coming out of both Australia and New Zealand. Like the cards are actually like worth paying for.
Yeah, worth going and having a look at.
Yeah, like I remember back in the day, it was like I think it was Jake Matthews on every prelims for it, and then it was like then just random guys on the main card. Like there was no Aussies.
Yeah. No, it's definitely come a long way since then.
Yeah, especially next generation. With you and your brother coming up. Kasib from New Zealand. Like so many fucking great amateurs coming up. It's gonna be fucking crazy to see.
Yeah, no, it's always been like Brazil and America has always been the two dominating countries of the sport. So it's good to sort of get Australia in the mix there now. Now it's like America and Australia and a little bit of Brazil still, and the
Yeah.
Russian as well.
Yeah, and even Georgia's like coming out pretty like big now. Obviously, Ilya's now champion. They got Marab coming up. Like,
Yeah, there's a fair few of them, eh? It's pretty good.
yeah,
Like there's people coming out of all corners of the world. Like it's finally starting to sort of become like a worldwide sport, like soccer or something. Like it's becoming so popular, which is good to see.
yeah. When like you and Kyle were fighting like IMAFs, were there like countries you hadn't even heard of before? Like before the IMAFs, have you like heard of Kyrgyzstan and like countries like that?
I sort of like there's definitely a few new countries where you're like I've never heard of that one before, but Uzbekistan or something like that.
Yeah,
Bahrain. I thought Bahrain was just like a city in like Spain or something. I was like, fuck, country, man. I thought, what the fuck? But yeah, no, like you go there and there's like so many different countries, and you see some of the teams that they bring over as well. It's just insane. It's like so many people coming out of such small corners of the world. It's pretty cool.
yeah. Bahrain though, I feel like they don't rig it, but they sort of cheat because they go and get all the Dagestani guys, and then like they give them all the
Yeah,
training and shit like that.
and then come over. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because we were when I thought I was doing. Well, I wasn't doing research, but like Dad was sort of trying to look at a few of the guys in my division and like looking at a few of the guys that had won it the year before. And God, I can't remember if it was like a few weight divisions above me or below me or something. But yeah, because the Russians weren't allowed to come in because of the war or whatever it
Yeah,
was. Like yeah, they were banned from it. And yeah, they all ended up just going in under like Kazakhstan or Tajikistan or Dagestan and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, like all the Russians were still in there. They're just under a different country now.
yeah. Which is like, why even ban them? Like, why even fucking ban
Yeah,
them? There's no point.
gonna find a way.
Yeah, it's like I mean you can't even blame them anyway for all that shit. It's like they're not their government; they're just individuals.
Like those kids didn't fucking bomb Ukraine or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Like most of them are. Yeah, that's literally the IMAFs. Like these are fucking like teenagers and shit like that. Like it's not their fucking fault.
Yeah, like I can't imagine if I was, looking to go over there, then Australia, like nuke Japan or something. Like, oh fuck. Like, why does it affect me?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. It's like, yeah, it's a bit stupid that. So, how do you see this fight going against Jack Looper? How you got yourself getting this one done?
um, I'm not really sure. Like I've prepared for what he's got in that, like his wrestling and his jiu-jitsu and that. But I wouldn't really say I've got a game plan set down. I just sort of react to whatever he sort of throws my way. Like every fight's always different. You can plan for it to happen one way, but something's always going to change. Even if it's the tiniest little thing, it can, completely change, the whole way you go about fighting. So, I think if he tries to wrestle me, the same thing will happen as what happens in the rest of my fights. Like I'll just end up sort of coming out on top of all the wrestling exchanges. And then I think my stand up will just be too good for his as well. So I can sort of see it going either way. Either just battering him standing up, or if he wants to try and take me down, he can try, and I'll just sort of, show him how good my wrestling is.
Yeah, and also actually I wanted to ask, like, did you have like inspirations like coming up, like fighters like on your come up, like what fighters were you like, just your favorite fighters and just fighters that just inspire you?
Um, John Jones was always the one that I looked at when I was little. Like I wanted to be like John Jones. Like some fighters, and they have a good fight here and there. Then some of their fights are boring, or some of them fights are just whatever. Whenever I was a little kid, John Jones was always a good watch. He's always worth watching. And of course, back then as well, being so young, I had no idea what was going on behind the scenes. So I just
Yeah,
be that guy. And
yeah.
that's
I
sort
was,
of
I
just
was
definitely my
sorry.
idol going through and trying to sort of get to the top. It's like I want to be like John Jones, especially
Yeah,
since he is the best of all time, regardless of what happens outside the UFC. I mean, he just smashes everyone. I'd love to see what would have happened if he he get banned so many times for all the shit that he did.
yeah. I was gonna ask, like, do you want to like make your career when you're like back up the like at the top when you're at the top? Do you want to like put your career on hard difficulty and like go partying the week before? Or are you gonna like live the clean lifestyle?
I'll probably by the time I get there, I reckon it'll be that tough and that close knit between like the ranked 15 guy to the champion. I think it'll all be that close where they're like if the little things like that'll just cost you everything. But
Yeah.
if I think I can, I might go and might be I'll just party this weekend and just try to smack this cunt next weekend. Um, yeah, no, I don't think you'd be able to do that anymore these days. He was just so dominant and so much better than everyone else, where he could do whatever he wanted and still just come out on top.
Yeah, especially he's like a higher weight class as well. Like then obviously they're skilled, but like compared to the lower weight class guys, like skill matters a lot more for like the lower weight classes. He's just so athletic, so long, like just such a physical specimen. It's like he can just get away with some of that stuff.
Yeah, and like for someone who is so big, he is that good as well. Like you see a lot of the heavyweights, and then they sort of just swing, and then that's still technical, but not like the lightweights or the featherweights and all that sort of stuff. And he was one of those guys at light heavyweight that was just that good. Like he was that well, sort of, he was that clean everywhere. And at the time too, like the light heavyweight division was like the division. It's like the lightweight division is these days. Back when he was in there, that like everyone, all the best fighters were in that division. That was the division to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you looking forward to like him versus like Tom Aspinall, like potentially?
Yeah, I want to see him. Like he'll smash Tom, he'll smash Stipe. There's no real reason for him to keep fighting. Like he's ready to become the best. He already is the best and all that sort of stuff. But I just want to see him fight a few more times. Just
Yeah,
smash a few.
exactly. Yeah, so he's like your favorite fighter, probably all time then.
Yeah, I definitely think he's the best ever. Probably not my favorite fighter. Like my favorite fighter would have to be, someone like Charles Oliveira, Volkanovski, Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, Dan Hooker, like something along those lines. But I definitely think he is by far the best fighter ever.
Yeah, yeah. And sorry, I've probably taken up a lot of your time, but I wanted to just ask like one more question. You know, by the time you do get to the UFC, let's just say you could just put yourself in there right now. Like, what would be your like dream fight against like anybody?
Charles Oliveira.
Yeah,
I think him or Dustin Poirier. I think those would be the two fights that I'd want if I was there right now. Those would be the two guys I want to beat.
yeah, yeah. No better fucking fights. Like Charles Oliveira, he's just a fucking like something about him. He can lose. He could lose like 5 fights in a row, and he's still gonna have that fucking aura around him.
Yeah, he's still just gonna like Islam would probably like Islam is the champ in that, but I don't know. Like it's just if I was there, I'd just want to fight Charles and Dustin just because of the persona they got. Like I definitely think it'd be worth fighting them way more than it would be worth fighting Islam. It just
Yeah,
excites me.
like imagine fighting like Charles in like Brazil as well. Like that would be crazy with the whole
Yeah,
Brazilian crowd and
yeah,
everything.
yeah. The thing I love about Charles too is like how good he is in that, but he's also so respectful in that. Like he's always nice, no matter. Like you never hear a mean word come out of him. And I think everyone respects that as well. Like you never hear anyone else say a mean word about him either.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, he's definitely one of the top fighters I rate as well, and he's dangerous everywhere. Like you can't chill with him no matter where you are. You take him down to rest, like get away from the stand up. You're gonna get triangled. You're gonna get armbarred. Something's gonna happen to you, and then you stand up and he's just got to clip you once and you're done.
yeah. I mean, yeah. Look at Gaethje. I thought he had that sub on Sarukian as well when he had the guillotine. I thought he fucking had that.
Fuck, I don't know how he got out of that. I don't honestly thought that Sarukian was going to sleep. I thought, here we fucking go. I was like, get down another title fight, but yeah.
Yeah, fucking tough bastard. I mean, his fucking shorts were falling off too. There was an angle, and you
Oh,
could see his fucking shorts were off.
his fucking pants are coming down and everything.
He was literally getting the fucking pants choked off him.
I'd love to see a rematch. Like since Dustin and Islam are fighting, I reckon they should just have another quick fight before, then the winner of them two will versus the winner of Dustin and Islam.
Yeah, what do you like think about that Dustin Islam fight? I feel like it's a bit weird one, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it, but it's a weird one to make.
I don't know. I definitely think it's the same as like when Chimaev fought Usman. Like Usman made him look human. Like he was really, really good until he fought the top guys. Like same with Islam. Like Islam sort of did fight like some really good guys, but then you see him go against Alex Volkanovski, and like even in the second fight before Alex got knocked out, like he was handling Islam on the cage fine, and that I definitely think it sort of brings that untouchable wrestling of Islam down, that bit, and I think I definitely think it's a winnable fight for Dustin, but whether that's how it plays out or that's how it goes is a completely different story. But I definitely think he could win it. But at the same time, whether he wins it or not is up for debate.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to see Dustin get the belt at this point in his career, though. Like he's a legend. It'd just be cool.
I reckon he'd retire if he got the belt right now. I reckon he'd retire. Maybe defend it once or twice, but then he'd retire.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame him. Go out on top. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially after that Gaethje fight. I really thought he was going to retire after that because, like, I didn't know if there was like much left for him. But for him to go back up, knock out Benoit Saint Denis and then now get a title shot, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you sort of look at the like the arc of that. Like, yeah, it's me too. I thought he'd retire after that fight with Gaethje, and then as you said, like he thought he got the opportunity to come up the top by the top guys, giving him the opportunity, so he'd sort of repay the favor and give Saint Benoist, however you say his name, the opportunity. Had a really good fight, and then that sort of put him back in the win column, and all of a sudden, he's making another run for the championship. So
Yeah. Yeah, inspiring stuff, man. Like, I mean, that is just Dustin Poirier, just an inspiring story. Like, even looking at him as like a featherweight getting slept by McGregor, then he goes up to lightweight, just goes on an absolute streak. It's pretty fucking
Oh,
cool
yeah.
shit.
But I will say, like with the Dustin and Islam fight, you see, his last fight and how he did against the wall, and that I definitely think Islam is another level on top of that. But in saying that, all the time Dustin's got taken down was because he was jumping guillotines. He
I
almost had
know.
it both.
I don't fucking know why. I was screaming at the fucking my laptop watching that fight. I was like, stop going for the fucking guillotines. Like, I don't know why the fuck he does that.
They were so close, but they were still so far away. Like anyone he jumped on, he could have finished. But at the same time, you're just thinking, don't jump on another one. Don't just knock him out. Just get that hook out and just drop him.
Yeah, at this point, I feel like at that high level, I just feel like jumping guillotines just don't fucking work. Like, yeah, at lower levels, yeah, but I just feel like it's not worth the risk because if you don't get them, you're just gonna land on your back and they're gonna top mount you or something like that.
Yeah, no matter like you think all the guys up there, like you see the guys like Conor McGregor or someone, oh, like he can't wrestle, he's shit at wrestling. Like you let him go on top of anyone, and I guarantee you he'll control you and keep you there for the full 5 minutes. Like you see how well he done wrestling against Khabib. Like he's definitely even the guys that are the best strikers and have shit wrestling for the UFC or for the top of the division. Their wrestling is still something outrageous compared to most people.
Yeah,
And
even the like, sorry,
the
yeah, go on,
wrestling
sorry.
so close knit that as soon as you get on top, you can guarantee that guy's just going to hold you there. Like unless you're like remarkably better than him, you're pretty much going to be stuck underneath. Like Armin versus Charles Oliveira. Like Charles is so good, but Armin just held him there for the whole round pretty much, and then Charles was on top, and then he pretty much held him there for the whole round. Like it's just whoever gets to that position first, I think.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I was gonna say even like wrestlers who don't look like they have good striking, most of the time, yeah, like even their striking's good. Except one exception that was Ben Askren because like he just doesn't have any hands at all.
Oh yeah, I never even seen Ben Askren fight. I just seen he got knocked out by Jorge Masvidal, and that's it. But yeah, like
Yeah,
once you get that high in the division, like you're gonna have to be good everywhere. There's no way you can be a slouch somewhere and still be there in the UFC. Someone will expose it soon enough, and then after that you're out. So if you did make it to the top, you're pretty, especially to like the average Joe, like you're gonna just absolutely rail them everywhere. Like Dan Hooker, he's not known as a wrestler. He fucking is insane at wrestling. Like he just throws and ragdolls everyone. And you think, this guy's not even a wrestler. So, for those guys like Khabib and Islam and Armin and Charles and that, you just think about like how good they are.
yeah, yeah. It's just like the levels to everything is just fucking crazy. Like Dan Hooker would look like Habib versus like a lower tier like regional guy, and it just keeps going down. Like and that regional guy would make some like amateur look like he would look like Habib to them. It's just the levels and
Yeah,
everything.
just insane.
Yeah. So your goal, I just want to. Sorry, I keep saying I'll ask you one last question, but I promise this is the last question now. So as your goals as like a pro, what like how many fights do you want to get before you go to the UFC? Do you have like a set amount of fights or anything like that?
I don't really have a set amount of fights. I just want to be in the UFC by the time I'm 25. So that's what, 6 years.
Yeah.
So just smash it out. Get as many fights in as I can, and by the time I'm 25, be there in the UFC. Um, same thing as when I was amateur. I want to get as many fights under my belt before I take that next step. But sometimes that's just not the case, and you just got to go with what you're given, and take what you can get. So just whatever happens, really.
Yeah, and good luck. Like if you do go out there and smash this guy, like good luck finding opponents. I mean, if you're going to stay on beatdown, Damien's going to have to fucking look all around the world. I'd imagine you'll probably be having to fight a bunch of international guys because it seems like it's hard to get some of these guys to sign fights nowadays.
Yeah, it should be good. Yeah, definitely keen. Like, that's sort of something that I struggle with at amateur, which is another reason why I went pro. Like, you're the guys that you're wanting to fight, you know, as well as they also being busy with other fights as well. Um, like you just can't find them, and then the only fights you're getting offered are like fights that sort of take you back a few steps. It's like, I'm trying to go this way, and these guys are going to take me back that way, and it just wasn't something that I was not willing to do, but it was either that or just go pro, and I was like, I'll just go pro. So now that I'm pro, I definitely think the bottom of the division is very limited at the moment. And like there's only a certain amount of fights until you're at the top, sort of thing. Like I think within 2 or 3 fights, you're sort of at that top of the division, and like with those guys, like sort of in a title contention, especially when you look on like Eternal and that, like a few good wins, and you're at the top, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Like Harry Webb, 3-0, he goes and fights for the lightweight belt. I mean, George Mangos, I think he's 4-0, and he's now in like that featherweight Grand Prix. So yeah, it's
it's insane. But like the hardest thing with that, I think, is going from such a not a low level, but like from one tier just up a few with such little experience to get you there. Like 2 fights, you beat one guy, then you beat the next guy, and now like you're in there with like the top contenders, and you just got to beat one of them, and then you're at the title. It's like a scary thing, but at the same time, it's just what's got to be done, eh?
Yeah, no, exactly. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what you can do because I mean, just looking at your amateur accomplishments, your Muay Thai accomplishments and everything, I mean, you're obviously very dedicated. You're obviously fucking good at everything, it appears. So, I'm excited to see what you do. And I just do you want to shout out any sponsors or shout anyone out before we finish?
Yeah, I've got a few sponsors back at home. Like a few, the biggest sponsors I get that are the biggest help, and obviously mean the most, is like people from the gym back at home. Putting away heaps of money towards me and Kyle going away, and that. Like one of our friends from the gym back at home just flew over to see Kyle fight. Like huge sponsors to us, League Zamet, and they just put so much towards us, and I think those are the sponsors that need the most recognition, as opposed to, because they don't get anything in return. They just they're giving you money for you to chase your dreams with pretty much nothing in return. So I think everyone back at home who's helped me get here deserves the most recognition above everyone else. And of course, I don't even think I have any sponsors at the moment, but no, if anyone wants to sponsor me, then hit me up. But no, that's it really.
So yeah, if you want to watch Brodie fight, he'll be fighting on Beatdown Promotions. I think the 11th of May, right?
Yeah, 11th of May. I think the promotion's Beatdown. I think it's under Battle of the North. Otherwise,
Yeah.
Beatdown 7 something, I think it is. Or maybe 8.
Yep, and they'll have a YouTube live stream as well. I'm pretty sure they've done that for the other card, so I imagine it'll probably be the same as well.
Keen
But
ass.
yeah. No, I can't wait to watch you, man. So yeah, good luck for your fight, and fucking go in there and smash him.
Cheers, mate.